Egyptian authorities are trying to clear a major blockage of the Suez Canal, which could threaten to disrupt global shipments for days. A giant container ship, the MV Ever Given, became grounded on Tuesday and completely blocked the vital trade route. The ship had apparently been blown off course, and maritime traffic in both directions is starting to build up. More than 10% of the world's trade passes through the canal, and the gridlock could also impact oil prices. Simon McGregor-Wood has the details.
The MV Evergreen appears to be significantly stuck. These stills show its bow is lodged against the Suez Canal's bank. A marine tracking website shows the extent of the problem and the blockage.
As she was heading northbound, she had a Suez Canal pilot on board, vessel master up on the bridge. The vessel lost power, went dark, according to the ship's agent. Losing power meant losing propulsion and also meant losing their steering.
The ship got stuck at the southern end of the canal. She was bound for Europe. Strong winds are also suspected to have played their part. Satellite images show the traffic jam behind the ship. It poses a major problem because the canal handles 12% of global shipping traffic.
And every day the canal is closed, number one, it means that Egypt isn't getting toll money for this. It's about $700,000 for every vessel to go through. But more importantly, container ships, tankers are not delivering food, fuel, manufactured goods to Europe, and goods are not being exported from Europe to the Far East.
Egyptian authorities diverted some shipping through an older channel to alleviate the bottleneck and rushed every available tugboat to the scene. The Evergreen is fully loaded and heavy, and some fear her structure could be damaged by all that weight. On Wednesday, 8 tugboats were in attendance, and authorities were trying to dig the ship out of the sand. Some of the thousands of containers on board may have to be offloaded to reduce her weight. That could take days, leading to significant delays for dozens of other vessels. Simon McGregor-Wood, TRT World.
Well, let's get more on the Suez Canal blockage now with Captain Ranjith Raja in Dubai. He's the head of oil and shipping research in the Middle East and North Africa for Refinitiv. Welcome back to the program, Ranjith. Now, according to some estimates, about 10 million barrels of oil products are backed up at either end of the Suez Canal. How important is this passageway for global oil supplies?
So thanks for having me. It is by far one of the most important waterways that exists globally, because we are not talking volume of oil is one, but more important than that is the sheer amount of traffic that the canal handles on a daily basis. If you look at the number of transits that the vessel handles, we are talking about more than about 50 vessels that transit the canal on a daily basis, both northbound and southbound. Of course, majority of them are the bulk and container fleets, which accounts for roughly about, say, 2,200 to 2,300 vessels each way for the bulk carriers in the container market. In terms of the tankers, we are talking roughly about 1,000 vessels transiting the canal on an annual basis on each side, and which essentially brings us to the question of how critical it is for the oil infrastructure and for the oil movement. And majority of this is purely loaded, and it is coming more on the southbound transit, which is catering for the east of Suez market. So when we look at when we split the market as east of Suez and west of Suez, it's more impact for the ballast vessels on the west of Suez, which is in the Mediterranean. That's going to be having a major impact due to this whole stoppage in the canal rather than any other fleet.
Now, in addition to oil, about 8% of the world's liquefied natural gas also passes through the canal on a daily basis. Do you expect this blockage then to impact energy prices, perhaps gas prices and oil prices?
Certainly, yes. I mean, we've already started seeing it since this morning. Like when the market opened this morning, benchmark crude prices were roughly just about the $60 threshold, where the market was kind of skeptical in terms of whether the threshold is going to be broken and in order to fall back, because mainly due to the whole the pandemic and the European concerns that's been happening with the vaccines and everything. But as I think the last I checked, the prices have already gone up to north of $64, which means that's been a rise of almost more than 5% in just one trading day, right from the time the market opened. So the impact is obviously felt, and there is a widespread concern in terms of how much of a larger impact this is going to have in terms of the ripple effect that it's going to cause over the period of the next few days and the weeks to come.
Okay, Captain Ranjith Raja, we will have to leave it there, but we'll also be keeping a close eye on the situation. Thank you again for joining us on the program.